If you can't put up with the heat from society, don't get in it. It is not an avocation, it is a mission.
For nearly 40 years, Dr. George Tiller operated a medical facility that specialized not only in abortions, but those that occurred in the later months of pregnancy. Controversy never ceased to swirl around Dr. Tiller's clinic. For the doctors and staff who worked alongside him, taking a position there was always much more than just a job.
I think this work is not just work. It's not the kind of thing, oh, this is just my job, so I'm going to go, 9 to 5. It's a deep desire to help people in incredibly desperate situations. There was just such pain.
They were all catastrophes. You don't pick up and go from New York or Washington State or France or New Zealand and travel to Wichita, Kansas on a whim.
Abortion has nothing to do with whether you're for it or against it. It just depends totally on your situation. And there were lots and lots of situations.
3 women who went to Dr. Tiller have chosen to share their stories here, but not all feel comfortable revealing their identities.
It's important that I stay anonymous because this story isn't just my story, it's also my family's story. I also think that there's really no need to put a face to my story, since it could be anybody, really.
I was, I believe it was about 25 weeks pregnant. What we were told was she had less than a 3% chance of living through the birth.
I grew to have the dreams for this child already. I had the nursery done in a fear that the child would be severely disabled and that I would not be able to care for him.
Dr. Tiller was the last option for people in my situation. That was the toughest choice I've ever had to make and probably will ever have to make.
Like most other abortion clinics around the world, the majority of procedures done at Dr. Tiller's clinic were for first trimester pregnancies. But for the second and third trimester procedures, Dr. Tiller and his staff provided much more specialized care.
We divided the third trimester patients into 2 groups, fetal indications and maternal indications. The fetal indications group were the situation where there was something very, very wrong with the baby.
And the other group were abortions that were being done for maternal indications. Many of these women were suicidal. Some of them were just ridiculously young, like 11 or 12 or 13. And this group of young women had to meet with a second doctor who had to agree that this pregnancy represented a threat to their health.
The biggest challenge was not the work itself, but the challenges were really outside the clinic.
We started the presence at Tiller's Gate with the intention of shutting down the Tiller abortion facility. That was the ultimate goal.
We would show up at the abortion clinic long before it would open and begin placing a series of Christian crosses along the public easement in the grass. We would park the truth truck with the pictures of aborted children right across from his driveway. Shortly after that, the patients would begin to arrive.
It was a long, quiet ride into Wichita. We had been warned that there would be picketers and protesters out front.
There was a guy who came every Wednesday, and he would climb up on the table with a megaphone and look over our fence and scream through the megaphone at the people who came in. You in the Lincoln, you have enough money to support a baby. Why are you killing your baby?
Don't kill your baby. We'll help you. We'll give you a baby blanket and send you to the welfare office. We'll help.
If you can just break down that initial resistance and just start a conversation. If I've got 15 seconds, my first 5 or 8 seconds might be really tender and pleading with them, and then my voice gets more shrill and don't do this, don't let them murder your baby. Mommy, please don't kill me, Mommy, don't kill me. While they're going in the door and the door is shutting. just in the hope that some phrase that I say will haunt them while they sit in the waiting room.
The patients were already sad to be coming there, and to be barraged with this constant hatred. They were already conflicted. Nobody plans to have an abortion. Nobody wants to have an abortion.
There was a point when I wanted to get out of the car and walk right to them, you know, with my big belly, and have them face me and see me and tell them that they can never possibly understand the pain and the sorrow and the anguish that I was going through.
On one end of the spectrum, you've got these people that are 100% sure that they're going to abort this baby. On the other hand, there are these at the other end of the spectrum that if you can reach them, they're the ones that are going to not only stop their car, they're going to roll down their window, and they're going to start reading the material that you hand them. The low-hanging fruit is that which is just waiting to be picked. It's just right there. All you have to do is ask her, how can we help you?
On a number of occasions, one of those people trying to persuade incoming patients not to go through with an abortion was a tall, soft-spoken man named Scott Roeder.
Did you ever sidewalk counsel in the city of Wichita?
Yes.
Okay, where would that have been?
At George Tiller's clinic.
By the early 1990s, Scott Roeder had committed his life to fighting the abortion battle. But at one time, years prior, he had chosen a much more conventional path.
I met Scott exactly on December 29th, 1981.
Not pretty.
Only that, we have sound.
Say something clever.
Something clever.
He wasn't particularly romantic. But he was very sweet and very kind, and we just hit it off. There was just something that clicked. There's this one time in our wedding, our heads are back and we're just laughing. We were just really happy. The trouble started, it was the summer before Nick turned 3, and we just weren't making ends meet. And one day he had one of those aha moments.
Can you tell the jury what kind of led up to your conversion, if you will?
Yes. I had been watching the 700 Club regularly, a Christian program. I was alone in my living room, and that day I kneeled down and I did accept Christ as my Savior.
He discovered the pro-life movement. I don't think he really had given abortion a thought up until 92 or 93.
Sir, what are your feelings on the practice of abortion?
From conception forward, it is murder. It is not man's job to take life, or it is our Heavenly Father's.
And that's when he really began to meet people. It was shortly after that that he started talking about Paul Hill and how Paul Hill had killed the doctor in Florida, and that was great, that was wonderful.
Around the same time, Roeder began reaching out to Rochelle Shannon, the imprisoned anti-abortion extremist who had attempted to murder Dr. Tiller in 1993.
And did there come a time when you had face-to-face visits with her? So you would go to the prison in Topeka and have visits with Rochelle Shannon?
Yes.
Did you admire Shelley Shannon?
She was, I guess, yeah.
You admired her. And you admired her because she had tried to kill Dr. Tiller.
I admired the fact that she...
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
He started talking about how it was a murder, that these doctors were murdering babies. If they're going to murder the babies, well, we're going to murder them. If they kill, then they should be killed. It was hard to live with. Nick went to school one morning, I went to work, I came home, and Scott was gone. Money was gone, his clothes were gone, he was just gone.
After leaving his family, Roeder gets involved with an anti-government militia known as the Montana Freemen. In 1996, he is arrested on the side of a Kansas highway.
He had sovereign citizen tags on his car, so he was pulled over. He had a rifle in the car and the makings of a bomb. I believed he was going to blow up a clinic, an abortion clinic. I was very afraid of Scott. Right after that, I filed for divorce.
He focused all the rage that he had upon the abortion issue, and he chose Dr. Tiller as his target.
One day, Roeder approaches Eddie Abache, a fellow ex-member of the Montana Freemen, with a proposition.
He came over and he pulled me aside and said, "Would you help me assassinate this doctor?" And I told him flat out, absolutely not. We don't go around snuffing out doctors, not at this time anyway. Knowing Scott, what he would do is sit and pray about the situation. And I could almost hear the prayer that he would say. It would be, "Lord, make me an instrument of your destruction." And apparently that's exactly what happened.